In a small town on the outskirts of civilization lies the abandoned St. Mark's Asylum, once a notorious institution for the mentally ill. The asylum has been closed for decades, its dark history shrouded in mystery and rumors of hauntings. A group of 5 friends, Rachel, Mark, Emily, Jason, and Sarah, decide to explore the asylum on a dare, seeking thrills and proof of the supernatural. However, they soon discover that the patients of St. Mark's never truly left, and the asylum's dark past is far from forgotten. Rachel, the leader of the group, adventurous and curious with a deep interest in the paranormal. Mark, the skeptic, logical and grounded, dismisses all ghost stories as nonsense. Emily, sensitive and empathetic, she has a strange ability to sense emotions and energies in places. Jason, the thrill seeker, always looking for the next adrenaline rush but secretly afraid of the dark. Sarah, the quiet observer, with a hidden fear of being trapped in small, confined spaces. The story begins with the group discussing urban legends and haunted places. Rachel proposes they explore St. Mark's Asylum, a place infamous for its dark history of abuse, neglect, and mysterious deaths. Despite their initial reservations, the thrill of exploring the unknown convinces them to go. They plan their trip for a night when the moon is full, believing it will add to the atmosphere. The asylum looms in the distance as they approach, its crumbling facade covered in ivy, with broken windows like empty eyes staring out into the night. The building is massive, with several wings branching out from a central courtyard. As they enter through a broken side door, the temperature drops noticeably, and the air grows thick with the scent of mildew and decay. They begin to explore, flashlight beams cutting through the darkness, revealing old medical equipment, rusted bed frames, and faded patient records scattered across the floor. As they delve deeper into the asylum, strange things start to happen. Mark hears footsteps behind him, but when he turns around, no one is there. Emily feels an overwhelming sense of sadness and fear, as if the walls themselves are crying out. Jason finds old restraints in one of the rooms, and as he touches them, he feels a sudden sharp pain in his wrists. Rachel captures what looks like a shadowy figure on her camera, but when she shows it to the others, it's gone. Sarah, meanwhile, starts to hear whispers, voices that seem to be calling her name. The group stumbles upon the patient wards where the air is even colder, and the feeling of being watched is intense. The rooms are filled with old, decaying furniture and personal items left behind by the patients. They begin to hear voices, faint at first, but growing louder. The voices speak in a mix of languages, some crying, others laughing maniacally. Emily, overwhelmed by the emotions flooding the room, collapses, whispering that the patients are still here, trapped in their suffering. The friends start to see shadowy figures moving in the corners of their vision, and the realization sets in: the patients never left the asylum. They find the office of Dr. Harlan, the head psychiatrist, whose methods were rumored to be cruel and experimental. The room is filled with medical records, bizarre instruments, and a large, ominous chair in the center. Rachel finds a journal detailing the doctor's experiments on his patients, trying to cure them by pushing them to the brink of madness. As she reads, the shadows in the room grow darker, and they hear a low, guttural growl coming from the chair. The spirit of Dr. Harlan is still present, and he's not pleased with their intrusion. The group decides to leave, but the asylum has other plans. The doors they came through are now locked, and the layout of the asylum seems to have changed. The walls close in, and the hallways twist and turn like a maze. The whispers grow louder, and the shadows take on more solid forms, appearing as the tortured spirits of the patients. Mark's skepticism fades as he begins to see the spirits clearly, their hollow eyes staring into his soul. Jason, in a panic, tries to break down a door, but it won't budge. Emily's empathy turns against her as she starts to feel the pain and fear of the patients, driving her to the edge of madness. Sarah, terrified of being trapped, hyperventilates and starts to lose her grip on reality. The friends realize they must confront the spirits if they are to escape. They find themselves back in the central courtyard, where the spirits of the patients gather, led by the malevolent presence of Dr. Harlan. Rachel, remembering a passage from the doctor's journal, realizes that the spirits are trapped by their pain and suffering, and they need to be released. She urges the group to confront their fears and speak to the spirits, acknowledging their pain. The spirits become more aggressive, their forms shifting and writhing in anger and sorrow. In a desperate attempt, Rachel pleads with the spirits, offering them peace and release from their torment. The air grows heavy, and for a moment, it seems like the spirits might attack. But then slowly they begin to fade, their whispers turning into soft murmurs of thanks. The oppressive atmosphere lifts, and the asylum's doors unlock. The friends, shaken and exhausted, make their way out of the asylum as dawn breaks. The group returns to their normal lives, but the experience leaves a mark on each of them. Rachel becomes more sensitive to the paranormal, often feeling the presence of spirits around her. Mark's skepticism is shattered, and he becomes obsessed with finding rational explanations for what they experienced. Emily, haunted by the emotions she absorbed in the asylum, withdraws from the group, seeking solace in isolation. Jason's thrill-seeking days are over, as he now fears the dark and what might be lurking in it. Sarah, once quiet and reserved, begins to speak out more, driven by the fear of being silenced again. But the story ends with a chilling note. As Rachel lays down to sleep one night, she hears a faint whisper in her ear, the voice of Dr. Harlan, reminding her that the asylum's influence is far from over.